All right, good morning and welcome back to Teal House Farm. I know usually on Tuesdays we do a canning pantry cooking video. This week's a little bit different. I'm gonna do a breakfast video for you because over the weekend or earlier last week, a very kind viewer sent us an Instapot. And I have been told that this is the only way that I will ever want to make hard-boiled eggs again. So we're going to try that together. And then I'm also going to show you how I make a sheet pan pancake. Since there's a lot of us to feed, I hate flipping pancakes because I'll just stand here and flip forever to make enough pancakes for everyone. So we've been making them in a sheet pan and then cutting them into squares. And the kids love them. They're just as good and fluffy as regular pancakes. And it just is a lot faster. So come with us this morning as we make some breakfast together for everybody.
Okay, so first thing we gotta do, we gotta open the package. I've actually had this for a few days and I've been wanting to get started with it. We've just been super busy, but this morning is the first day to give it a try. So we get it all unwrapped and all the inner stuff taken out. There's some spoons and a measuring cup. We wash the inside pan just since it's our first time using it. We'll give it a quick little scrub down and we'll dry it off before we get started for the morning. We're gonna add 1 cup of water in the bottom of the Instapot. And then we're gonna add our eggs. And we're gonna use store-bought eggs for this because home fresh chicken eggs are notoriously horrible to peel. So we'll start with some store-bought eggs. We'll get that lid on, which is pretty easy to get secured. We're gonna make sure that it's sealed, not venting. Add our steam collector in the back. And then we're gonna do it on manual for 5 minutes. I looked up several different ways to do this, but the most common one seemed to be the 5-5-5 method. So 5 minutes cook time, 5 minutes cool down, and then 5 minutes in the ice bath. Next, we're gonna start our sheet pancakes. There's the recipe, I'll copy it below as well. We're gonna preheat the oven to 425. And we're gonna get out a stick of butter. First, we'll use the butter to just grease the pan lightly, and then the rest of the butter here that's left, we're gonna go put in a mug and put it in the microwave for 30 seconds to melt it for the actual pancake recipe. I don't usually grease pans with butter because butter is expensive, but since this recipe already uses the whole stick, we just steal a little off the end of the stick and use the rest to make the recipe, so it's all going the same place. Next, we're gonna crack 3 large eggs into a bowl. The duck eggs are perfect for pancakes, so we're gonna use our duck eggs. But if you wanted to use chicken eggs, just make sure they're large eggs. Or if you have small eggs, you're gonna wanna make sure you use 4 because you need enough eggs to get a nice puffy pancake. Then we'll pour in our melted stick of butter and 2 tablespoons worth of vanilla. I am making a large recipe. This is an oversized cookie sheet, so if you're using a normal sized cookie sheet, you'll probably wanna half this recipe. 3 tablespoons of baking powder, and we're going to also add a teaspoon of salt, and then 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and we'll give it a nice whisk to mix it in there with the eggs. Next up, we're going to add 3-ish cups of milk and 4 cups of flour, and you can add a little extra milk if it's not ready enough to pour into your pan. We'll pour it into the pan and use a spatula to kind of help spread it out and make sure it gets to all the corners. Should fill up the whole pan. Looks nice, looks like that. Let's add some toppings. Today we're gonna do some strawberries, I think. So I got some frozen strawberries out of the freezer. And we're gonna put some of those on top, and then we're also gonna add some chocolate chips because who doesn't like some chocolate chips on their pancakes? And it looks like that. And then it's ready to go in the oven. So the oven is on 425, it's nice and hot. We're gonna slide them in for 20 minutes. Our Instapot's ready, so we're gonna turn it off and let it sit for 5 minutes to make sure it cools all the way down. Then we're gonna hit it over to venting on the back. Maybe a towel would have been smart, kind of burned my finger there. Let all the steam come out, and then we open the lid and we're ready to see how our eggs did. I was partially worried that all the pressure would make the eggs explode, so I was kind of curious what I'd find inside, but nope, you all on the internet were right. They actually look great. We're gonna take it out of the water, hot water there, and into an ice bath. I'm going to let them cool down about 5 minutes in the ice bath. And now for the test, let's see how they did. We'll give the shells a little roll on the counter, and then we'll give it a peel. And they actually do peel really easily. I was impressed. I've tried a lot of different hacks for making eggs easy to peel, and a lot of them, they just don't really work. But this was really easy. That shell came right off, and the egg looks great. Our sheet pancake is ready. We'll take it out, let it cool down just for a minute, and then we're gonna go ahead and slice it up into squares and get it onto the kids' plates here with their eggs. I do find that the first piece is the hardest one to get out because you have to get some leverage, but once you get the first one out, they all come out real nice and don't crumble everywhere. Everyone gets a square. Try to make sure everyone gets an equal amount of strawberry and chocolate chip so there's no fighting. Looks pretty good. We'll put some syrup on the corner of the plates there so everyone can dip their pancake square into some syrup and get them passed out. Little syrup on each empty spot. I find if I put syrup on the pancakes, by the time the kids come down, they complain they can't see the syrup, and then they end up with 3 times the amount of syrup. So I always put syrup on the side so they have to dip and they can clearly see the amount of syrup they have. And we start passing out drinks a little too. We always get milk in the morning, and the older girls usually want juice if we have it, and we do have juice today. We don't always have juice, but when we do, it's what they want. So we'll do some grape juice. And then I think the table's about ready. Now we just wait for people to start waking up. Mr. P was a little confused. I don't think I've ever given him a whole hard-boiled egg. I always cut him up for him. So he tries to smush it like a ball, and then I decide that's probably going to get messy. So we go ahead and cut it up for him. Yeah.
Ivy was sleeping on top of my blanket last night.
Getting Ivy doing her most loved chore in the background here. The worst chore of the day.
Well,
A couple notes that as I was editing the video, I thought, well, I should mention a couple things. As far as the pancake go, you can absolutely make it plain. And the toppings, you can really be really creative. And I've seen them before where people will actually do like the toppings in lines so that everyone can have their favorite topping on their section of pancake, which is pretty cool. But no matter what kind of topping you use, your cook time is going to be $4.25 for 20 minutes. And if you're doing a savory topping like a bacon or something, it needs to be cooked before you top your pancake with it. It's not enough time for it to cook in the oven. And as far as the Instapot goes, so the Instapot that we got, which was really neat from a viewer, isn't a Instapot brand Instapot, so it doesn't have a rack inside. And I wasn't sure if that would make a difference with the eggs because all the instructions I saw online said that you need to put the eggs on a rack, but I had absolutely zero problems. Need help? So if you have an Instapot or an Instapot brand or a not Instapot brand pressure cooker and don't have a rack, it's totally fine. I laid them just inside the Instapot in the little bit of water, and the water does not need to cover the eggs. It was only 1 cup of water. It barely covered, you know, a couple centimeters on the bottom. So the eggs were not covered. Hi, JJ. So don't worry about those 2 things. You don't need to cover the eggs completely, and it's okay if you don't have a rack in your brand Instapot. It still worked really well. Yes. Sure. And so I think those are the notes for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and we most likely will have a canning pantry video for you next week back on the regular schedule. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.